Hello guys and welcome here to the Jello Cup Series. This is race number 31 here today from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Today we present to you the Food City 500. I believe this is our first trip to Bristol this season, our first trip since the Championship 4 for the Carvana Wildcard Series here today, and it'll wrap up the week for us. Before the 4th of July, we want to wish you guys a very happy 4th of July weekend coming up. Hope you guys are either preparing to do something amidst this COVID-19 pandemic, and if not, hope you guys maybe are enjoying staying home. I'm here at home. I'm Brian James here today, and starting on the pole today will be Patrick Smith in the number 35. Now keep in mind, he's on the outside looking in entering this race. He's one of the bottom 4 that are left, so he's going to want to run aggressive today. Alexander Rowe, he's another one. He needs to get something going. They will both start on the front row and hope to do something in this race. Last time Alexander Rowe ran that paint scheme, he was victorious at Sonoma. We'll see if he has the same luck today. They all want to join Trevor Collins, though. He won at Phoenix, and he advances to the round of 8. He's the only driver locked in at this point, and the question will be who will join him. We won't waste too much time, as we're going to find out who it will be in the coming laps, as we expect a crazy race here at Bristol. This is the Food City 500. This is the Jello Cup Series playoffs. Let's roll the intro, and we'll be right back in just a moment with your starting lineup. We already showed you your starting lap, so we'll be right back in just a moment.
Through turn 4. Does 24 have enough? It's going to be a drag race to the line. We're going down the front stretch. The 96 wins the race at Coda.
Here we go. We're getting ready to get started here. Again, this is the second race in the round of 12. There's still one more race before we end this round. It will be at the Charlotte Roval. Austin Shaw will be joining us for that. But meanwhile, the attention is here. As Patrick Smith leads us to the green, we're underway. Patrick Smith, he will lead the opening lap here at the last great Coliseum. Side by side for second, though, it is Alexander Rowe and Scott Upton. We'll see, can Upton clear him? It doesn't look like it. Now keep in mind, the more these guys run side by side, the more this helps Patrick Smith's cause. And the 14 is aggressive, runs it a little wide, may have brushed the wall, but gets around the 37. And now he will now set his sights on Patrick Smith. Again, after this we go to the Roval. And after this we are 5 races into the playoffs. We'll have 5 races left. And that will consist of the Charlotte Roval, as mentioned. Talladega will be the next race. Then Watkins Glen. So 3 very tricky tracks coming up. Then we head to Martinsville, and then we go to Zen Joltis for the season finale. That's all that's left. Then, of course, we will have Carvana signups later today, as this is Thursday. So we'll have Carvana signups tonight. The Carvana season projected to start the weekend that the Championship 4 will be. So we hope you'll sign up for that. Of course, we got some business here first. See Alexander Rose slowly eating away at that lead. Of course, on short tracks, it's one thing to catch someone, it's another thing to pass them. And you need to have clean air, and it doesn't look like Alexander Rose getting a bunch of that, but he is getting a good draft off the 35, which could help him. He's down to 2/10, and it looks like he's getting a better run off of turn 4 than Patrick Smith is. See, they're lining up single file behind. And keep in mind, Patrick Smith, if he wins, I believe he will be the furthest to advance for a past champion. And he, of course, wants to keep his drive for 2 championships alive. Oh, 14 got a little loose, but gets right on the bumper of Patrick Smith. And Alexander Rose trying to do everything he can to push the 14 into a mistake. Or the 35, rather, into a mistake. And that's just not going to happen. You're battling a defending champ of the series. Who knows what it's like to be under immense pressure. Another thing to keep in mind, if Patrick Smith wins, he ties for second on the all-time wins list with Eric Faden with 6 career wins. His teammate Hilary Sanchez, now keep in mind the both of them combined right now account for 12 Jello Cup Series victories. And it looks like Alexander Rowe used up all his stuff on that. Keep in mind, Alexander Rowe is still very much alive in this playoff, so a win could advance him to the next round, as well as Patrick Smith. But again, going back, I don't think any past champion has made it to the round of 8. I will have to do my research on that, but I'm pretty sure no past champion in the Jello Cup Series has advanced to the round of 8, and Patrick Smith could be the first. And of course, all these playoff guys, they are going to want to win here today because they know the Roval presents uncertainty in the next round, or in the next race, as far as advancing to the next round. And especially combine that with the next round starting with Talladega. That's going to be even more pressure on these guys. So you see Dan Hummel's battling for third back there with Scott Upton. But the main focus here is on the battle between these playoff drivers. And of course, add Carter Joey to the mix. Carter Joey isn't fifth, he's a little ways back. Not out of this, though. And could Dan Hummel challenge for second? Patrick Smith is running a lower line. I don't know if it's to block or if he's thinking about pitting. No, he was doing it to block because Alexander Rowe is there, looking for the lead. He won't get it. And you can tell he really wants to put the bumper to that 35. And this time he'll dive it in. He wants the lead. Will he get it? Is going to be the other question. Keep in mind the progressive banking here could allow the 35 to get a run, and it won't. Alexander Rowe to the lead. Dan Hummel to second. Now Dan Hummel will set his sights on the lead, but Patrick Smith wants second back. And he won't be able to dive it in this time, but he's right on the bumper of that 25, making his life miserable. Definitely the 35 is going to hope for some big adjustments, some big swings on the track bar probably as we make green flag pit stop. And it won't be green flag pit stops. The caution is out. The 8 of Eric Faden, the 77 of Diego Yepes, and it looks like the 20 of Dylan Ibrahimian bring out this caution, and these guys are going to have to get it back down. And luckily, I believe the 14 does, but he does get brushed a little bit. We're going to sit back, kind of watch, and see if they pit. All these guys are scrambling to get around the pace car right now. And man, the 14's getting hit from behind by Brad Stover. And they're going to pit. Up ahead, Dylan Young, he blew a motor. His day's done. And of course, I believe this will pin all these guys a lap down, which is a tough break. 14 is in. He's the first stall. Of course, Patrick Smith, a few cars separating those two. $14 putting on the left sides. Of course, he's going to have a lot of cars to contend with coming off the pit lane. Patrick Smith finally in his pit stall. He's not going to get the race lead here, unless these guys go 2 tires, and they just won't do it. There goes the 14 with a bunch of, I believe, the lapped cars. We're going to get this whole mess sorted out. Let's go see what happened. 2 separate incidents here. It looks like 34 bounces off the 47. No room right there. Causes Eric Faden to spin, and Giorgio Stumu also going around. Then up ahead, it looks like the 20 and the 77 get pinched by the 3, and that spins those 2 cars around. That brings out our caution early here. We got a lot of sorting out to do. We'll be back with the green in just a moment. I believe we got everything sorted out. Again, Dylan Young is out of the race. These guys who could have gone around the leader didn't, and unfortunately, race control will pin him a lap down. Brad Stover being one of them. And your playoff contender, Zach Fitzwater's another one of the playoff contenders pinned a lap down. They're going to need a miracle here, as it'll be Alexander Rowe, Usman Hamid, Tyler Faden, Scott Upton, Mohammed Zain Abdullah. We're back underway. And of course, Ben Crouch trying to stay on the lead lap, but he's gonna end up holding up Alexander Rowe, and Rowe will fall behind the 5 now. So Brad Stover will get his lap back. Now can Jeff Scott follow? His teammate back there, Usman Hamid. Keep in mind, Usman Hamid has been close this season. He hasn't gotten to victory lane though yet. And could Jeff Scott do something to help his teammate. Now keep in mind, these guys were told in pre-race drivers meetings to be courteous. They were told basically be courteous of the leaders here, do not run them over, or be courteous of the playoff drivers, don't run them over. We saw Dan Hummel on the pit lane, he's got an issue. That's tough break. I just wanted to see if Patrick Smith followed him, because those two were held on the pit lane for quite some time. Thankfully, neither of them... they're able to continue. Of course, Patrick Smith not going to be a beneficiary out of this. And you see there the 52, he gets around the 3 of Nathan Faden. Now he's just got to get by his teammate. Usman Hamid is about to pass his teammate. That's, of course, not a battle for position, but a battle with a lapped car. And you see there, it looks like Jeff Scott will be nice to his teammate and try to let him go. And he will. So now Usman Hamid, he'll have his eyes set on the number 14 of Alexander Rowe. Oh man, 51's loose off the corner, had to save it. And he's on the back bumper of his teammate. And I imagine Usman Hamid has got to be sitting there saying, please don't let my, please teammate, cut me a break. I'm battling for a win here. And I think team orders just went out the door slightly. I thought the 51 went inside. He did not. We're coming up on 30 to go. Could Alexander Rowe join Trevor Collins in being locked into the next round? Again, Alexander Rowe was victorious over at Sonoma, driving the Blue Death car. He's running right against that traction compound on the inside. At least in turns 3 and 4 he tried to, or last time by turns 1 and 2 he didn't. You see he's running a little bit of a middle line. Keep in mind this is progressive banking here, so it ultimately opens up the racetrack, but it seems like these guys on the bottom are doing a lot better than the guys on the top, so the top doesn't have a whole lot of grip. 25 to go. The big question will be, can Alexander Rowe hang on? You see there, he's starting to put a gap on the 52 of Usman Hamid. It was 5/10 last time, 6/10 this time. He's doing whatever he can to put a gap on that 52. And of course the other question will be, do they have to pit again? 'Cause if they got a pit under green, this could haunt some of those guys. Again, we focus on Patrick Smith. He's battling there with Carter Joey, Austin Shaw, the 00 of Anthony Logan. And he's just ultimately stuck in a lot of traffic trying to make something happen late. And there, Brad Stover goes a lap down once again. That'll give him kind of a one-car gap to Usman Hamid. Because Usman Hamid will now have to get around the 5 to make something happen. Can Alexander Rowe lap the 25 again? That'll be the other question. Now we got 15 to go, I believe. The gap is 1.2 seconds. And then, of course, another 1.2 seconds back, I believe, is the 16 of Tyler Faden. Again, we've documented that team started out struggling. Of course, they're battling for third right now with Scott Upton. Tyler Faden, he got off to a cold start this season. Oh, they touch. And the 37 gets around. Expect the 16 to remember that one, because the 37 Scott Upton just about almost wrecked Tyler Faden for that position. Expect him to remember it. Wow. Your Ben Crouch, Dan Hummel, they are not battling for position, but they are battling to try to stay ahead of this 14 car. See Charles Sanford's on the pit lane. This could be an indicator. How much longer do these guys have? See, Rowe has caught him. Looks like someone has spun, but we've got some pit stops. And the caution is out. See, everyone's brushing the wall. And the 6 of Trevor Collins takes the race lead. Tim Horton to second. Matt Hussey is third. And this now shakes up the running order. Oh man. These guys will pit this time. But the question is, were the leaders pinned one lap down? Alexander Rowe was not, so he may catch a break. Usman Hamid, however, was pinned a lap down. Could the leaders catch a break? That's going to be the question. And I believe they will. Right side's on. It looks like the 24 is going fuel only. I don't see the jack going up. Right side's only for the 24. Looks like the 21 might win the race off the pit lane. And they're being stopped. Now they're being allowed back on. Sorry about that. Let's go see what happened. Some aggressive racing between your playoff contenders. Samet Ozkan, Trevor Collins, they beat and bang off the corner. And you see there, it looks like the 6 just bounces off the 18, kind of puts the 18 down the track. The 18 doesn't, or the 6 does not appreciate it, and the 6 essentially takes out Samet Ozkan. That's a tough break for Samet and those guys. I'm sure they will be pretty upset with what the 6 just did. Short track tempers flaring at the end of this one. Let's take you back to the green. Here we go. We get ready for the restart. And it looks like the leaders do benefit. Alexander Rowe, Scott Upton, Tyler Faden, Tim Randolph, Mohammed Zain Abdullah. That is your top 5. They got a lot of lapped cars ahead of them with 4 to go. And of course, a caution would end the race most likely. So I believe, unless something happens, Alexander Rowe should have this one in hand as we're back underway. And already onto the bumper, the 19. The 5 moves him up the track. Three to go. Can Alexander Rowe hang on? Or will Scott Upton pull off an upset here? We come to 2 to go. The 14 is pinned on that high lane. Dylan Ibrahimian pits. Oh, the 19 bounces off the wall. White flag is out, 1 lap to go for Alexander Rowe. Rowe won back at Sonoma. He qualified for the playoffs on that win. And guess what? He's going to get a second one. Alexander Rowe advances to the round of 8. He wins at Bristol. Congratulations to the number 14. Job well done for them. The second win with Blue Def on the car. Man, I bet you they wish Blue Def sponsored all 36, because if they did, this team would win a lot more, I'm sure. And of course, he advances. He will join Trevor Collins in the round of 8. And Trevor Collins, of course, comes away with the top 10. I believe Patrick Smith also a beneficiary. Yeah, he comes home 18th. Decent run. But of course, we'll see the points impact in just a moment, as these guys will have to go to the Roval next. We want to thank you for watching. Here come your results and standings. And as mentioned, we will see you for the Roval. But before we leave and sign off, I want to wish you all a happy Independence Day. Happy Canada Day to our Canadian friends. So we hope you are ultimately staying safe this upcoming weekend. Till then, goodbye everyone. Or until Monday, goodbye everyone.